In the dim glow of a flickering corridor aboard the USS Valor, Captain Marcus Drayton pinned a defiant figure against the rough concrete wall, his voice a low growl of authority. "Who do you think you are, challenging my orders?" he barked, his muscular frame towering over the slender woman in a tattered uniform. Her hands pressed flat against the wall, she met his furious gaze with a steely calm that unnerved him. The tension hung thick, the distant hum of the ship's engines underscoring the standoff. Soldiers lingered in the background, rifles at the ready, their eyes darting between the two. Suddenly, her lips curled into a faint, knowing smile, and she uttered words that stopped Marcus cold. "Check your orders, Captain. I'm Admiral Elena Voss, your commanding officer." The revelation hit like a shockwave, unraveling the power dynamic in an instant. The corridor fell silent, the weight of her statement sinking into Marcus's chest. He stepped back, his hands dropping to his sides as disbelief etched lines across his rugged face. Admiral Voss straightened, brushing off her uniform with a composed grace that belied the chaos of the moment. Marcus fumbled for his tablet, his fingers trembling as he pulled up the latest command roster. There it was, in stark black and white, Admiral Elena Voss, newly appointed to oversee the Valor's critical mission in the Pacific. His heart pounded as he realized his mistake. He had just assaulted the woman who held his career, and his life, in her hands. The soldiers behind him exchanged uneasy glances, unsure whether to lower their weapons or await further orders. Marcus's mind raced, searching for an explanation, but Voss's piercing blue eyes held him in place, demanding accountability. She broke the silence first, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "Captain Drayton, your zeal is noted, but your judgment is sorely lacking. I arrived unannounced to assess your readiness, not to be manhandled by my subordinate." Her words were measured, but the undercurrent of authority was unmistakable. Marcus swallowed hard, his pride warring with the need to salvage the situation. He had assumed she was a stowaway or a spy, given the ship's heightened alert status after a series of mysterious cyber attacks. The Valor was on the brink of a classified operation to neutralize a rogue submarine threatening global trade routes, and Marcus had been on edge for weeks. Now, he stood before the admiral he was meant to serve, his impulsive action threatening to derail everything. Voss gestured for the soldiers to stand down, their rifles clattering as they relaxed. "Follow me to the briefing room," she commanded, turning on her heel with the confidence of someone who had navigated worse storms than this. Marcus trailed behind, his mind a whirlwind of regret and strategy. In the briefing room, the stark fluorescent lights illuminated a holographic map of the Pacific, where red markers pulsed ominously near the Mariana Trench. Voss began outlining the mission, her expertise evident in every detail. She spoke of the rogue submarine's advanced stealth technology, a threat that had evaded detection by even the most sophisticated naval systems. Marcus listened, his initial resentment giving way to admiration as she revealed her plan to lure the enemy into a trap using the Valor as bait. As the briefing progressed, a new twist emerged. Voss revealed that the cyber attacks plaguing the fleet were not random, they were orchestrated by a faction within their own ranks, a mole feeding intel to the enemy. Marcus's stomach churned. He had trusted his crew implicitly, but now every face in the room became a suspect. Voss assigned him to lead the internal investigation, a test of his ability to recover from his earlier blunder. The task was daunting, sifting through personnel files, monitoring communications, and watching for the slightest hint of betrayal. Yet, it was also an opportunity to prove his worth to the admiral who now held his fate. Days turned into a tense week aboard the Valor, the ship cutting through stormy seas as Marcus immersed himself in the investigation. He noticed subtle anomalies, encrypted messages on a junior officer's terminal, late-night meetings in the engine room, and a missing log entry from the communications officer. His suspicions crystallized around Lieutenant Jared Kane, a quiet man with an impeccable record but a recent change in demeanor. Marcus confronted Kane in the mess hall, the clatter of trays and chatter fading as the crew sensed the confrontation. Kane denied everything, but his nervous tick, a twitch of his left eye, betrayed him. Before Marcus could press further, an alarm blared, signaling an incoming missile from the rogue submarine. The crew scrambled to battle stations, the ship lurching as countermeasures were deployed. Marcus rushed to the bridge, where Voss was already directing the defense. Her cool-headedness under fire impressed him, but the missile's proximity forced a desperate maneuver. The Valor dove into a steep evasive roll, throwing crew members off balance. In the chaos, Marcus glimpsed Kane slipping toward the communications array, his intent clear. With a surge of adrenaline, Marcus tackled him, pinning him to the deck as the missile detonated harmlessly in the distance, thwarted by Voss's quick thinking. Kane struggled beneath Marcus, spitting accusations. "You're all blind. The Admiral's the real traitor, she's selling us out." The revelation stunned the bridge crew, their eyes darting to Voss. She remained unflappable, ordering Kane restrained as Marcus searched his pockets, finding a data chip with encrypted files. The chip's contents, decrypted by the ship's AI, revealed a plot. Kane had been feeding intel to the submarine, but the files also implicated Voss in a cover-up of earlier security breaches. The twist deepened the drama. Was Voss a victim of circumstance or a mastermind hiding in plain sight? Voss called for a secure council with Marcus and the senior officers, her expression unreadable. She admitted to suppressing reports of the breaches to avoid panic, a decision that had inadvertently fueled the mole's activities. Her honesty disarmed Marcus, who had begun to see her not just as a superior but as a leader burdened by tough choices. Together, they devised a counterplan, feeding false intel through Kane to lure the submarine into a kill zone. The operation hinged on Marcus's ability to maintain the deception while Voss coordinated with Allied forces. The trap was set, and the Valor broadcasted a fabricated distress signal. Hours later, the rogue submarine surfaced, its silhouette a menacing shadow against the moonlit waves. Allied destroyers closed in, but the submarine launched a final, devastating torpedo. The Valor's shields held, and Voss ordered a precision strike that crippled the enemy vessel. As it sank, Kane's treachery was exposed to the crew, his cries of defiance silenced by his arrest. The mission succeeded, but the cost was high, several crew members were injured, and trust aboard the ship was fractured. In the aftermath, Voss and Marcus stood on the deck, the sea calm once more. She offered him a rare smile, acknowledging his growth from reckless captain to dependable ally. "You've earned your rank, Drayton," she said, her voice soft but firm. Yet, another twist awaited. Intelligence reports revealed the submarine's backers were still at large, a shadowy consortium with ties to the fleet's high command. Voss tasked Marcus with a new mission: root out the corruption at its source, a journey that would test his limits and redefine their partnership. As the Valor sailed toward its next port, the crew began to heal, their faith in leadership restored. Marcus reflected on the woman who had turned his world upside down, her strength a beacon in the storm. The story of their clash would become legend aboard the ship, a tale of redemption and resilience. And as the sun rose over the horizon, Voss turned to Marcus with a final order: "Prepare for the fight ahead, Captain. We're not done yet." Now, viewers, from which part of the country are you watching this video?